Okay, today we are trying newly launched spring makeup from Japanese drugstore. The majority of these are from two brands, Cezanne and canmake. We have the newest canmake eyeshadow palette. These are limited edition and they are all like shimmers and glitters. We also have the new blushes from canmake and Cezanne. They look extremely similar, right? We are comparing these two. We also have foundations from Cezanne and maquillage. We also have powders from, again, Cezanne and ettusais. And there's also sunscreens from Excel and Cezanne. So there's a lot of new from the brand Cezanne. In the last, we have the new Lip Monster formulation. So if you are interested, keep watching. Where do we even start? Let's start with sunscreen. Ideally, I should have the canmake one because I am planning to purchase the one, but for now we don't have that. So let's try this one. This is the Excel Protective UV Essence, and this one has SPF 50. And let's do it on this side. I have actually tried this years ago. It has a little bit too much white cast, so I didn't really like it. And recently, it has like quite a bit of buzz on, well, at least in Asia. So I thought I would try again. And I tried it in the store and felt like there's not much white cast actually. And I think you can tell it really doesn't really have white cast. I wouldn't say at all, but I think maybe 95% no white cast. It looks a little bit brighter, but I do think that's partially because my skin looks a little bit dull. I don't know what's happening recently. My skin feels very smooth, but the skin color just like very dull. Probably because of my sleeping schedule. Do you ever feel like you don't even want to fall asleep because that means that day is gonna be over? I don't know, I just always don't want to like falling asleep, so I just scroll on my phone for hours. Cezanne UV Make Keep Base, and this one is actually in the same line with their primers, and I actually don't really like their primer. I liked it before when I was way younger. I think now my skin changed with aging. That one doesn't look good on me. It makes my base look extremely heavy. But this is the new addition to their primer line. And this is supposed to be brightening and act as primer, and is also a sunscreen because it's like SPF 50. It's pretty strong. And it's in this lavender color. And it claims to be brightening but no white cast. I don't know how that's gonna be true. For now, I call this a white cast, but let's blend this and judge from that. Blending this out, I feel like this doesn't look super bad, like the color. It does make your skin look a little bit whiter. I think the color is like a correct color to brighten your skin so your skin don't look gray, because sometimes I find those white cast sunscreen make your base look gray because of the undertone is pretty weird. So this one is a great undertone, so it just like looks brighter. It doesn't look like super like grayish, like concrete type color. Maybe that's what they are trying to say. And for texture, this one already set. Like it feels like not completely dry, but like it feels like your skincare has been settled for more than half an hour type thing. It's not sticky at all. It just feels like moisturized but dry skin. And this side has a little bit more stickiness to it, but it doesn't feel like sticky. It feels like a primer dried out type of like sticky, you know? And it feels pretty nice too. I feel like this one is more of a watery base, and this one might has like slightly more silicone. It's like more of a cream rather than like a liquid gel type of thing. This one is very like gel. For now, I like both. As I'm talking, this side is becoming like more and more natural. Like it doesn't feel like a lot of white cast or like brightening a lot. It feels like almost blending with this side, just a tiny little bit brighter. Foundation, we actually have two. And again, ideally I should have the canmake one because we are doing a lot of comparison of these two brands. But I think that could be like in another video. I have the Cezanne cushion foundation. I thought this is their new cushion, but it turns out it's not. They have like a chiffon or matte one, like it's a more matte one than this, but whatever. Let's try this glowy one. On the other half, we have this maquillage essence liquid EX. I mentioned this in the haul video. This is actually a pretty well-known formula in Japan, and previously this is very liquidy but dries out pretty quick type of formulation. Normally that type of formulation doesn't look right on my skin, so I never bothered to try it. But recently they have reformulated just like a couple weeks ago, I think. And I tried this at the store and I think the formulation is super nice. It's like actually a hydrating glowy type of like serum-y texture, which is very trendy right now, the serum-y type of foundation. And they have like 5 or 6 shades, and this is probably the second or third shade, so it does have a little bit darker shade, but I don't think it's gonna be all that dark. It looks like it's gonna be a pretty nice shade. This really looks pretty nice, and it's not as glowy as I thought. On the camera, because all this lighting, it does look a tiny little bit more glowy than in real life, but I still feel like even on the camera it's not like super glowy. And the color, I feel like maybe half a shade too light, but it still doesn't look too weird. Like I could definitely go with this. Undertone is pretty nice for my light medium olive skin tone, and people usually leave comment saying I don't look like I'm olive. Trust me, I am. I have to say my face is not olive undertone. My face is pretty red, because there's a lot of redness like on my skin, but my body is very olive, and I prefer to match my body. I feel like even if you just look at my neck, you're gonna like agree that I'm like light medium olive, and even my hand. I have a neutral skin tone friend. I definitely look green next to her. Okay, but this foundation is absolutely beautiful actually. Even though it's a serum foundation, it's more of a natural glowy finish. Up to medium coverage, I would say. It's not settling into my pores, which is a big problem for me for a lot of foundations, so this is nice. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the uemura, whatever foundation. It really reminds me of that. It's already settled, like I touch it like this, there's nothing on my hand. Like, okay, now let's try the cushion. It's a very typical cushion, and I'm using the shade 20, which is the darker shade. Oh, this one actually looks really nice, and it's not glowy at all. I would say this is a more of a satiny type of finish. Like, I don't even think it's as glowy as this side. I think all of these brands should have a meeting together to settle into a standard up until what level of glow it's a what finish, so everybody could know what they actually mean when they state a foundation has a certain finish, because I think they're just throwing words at this point, because this is definitely not glowy at all, and the color is actually pretty great. Even though right now I feel like on the camera it looks like it's way lighter than my neck. In real life, it's a little bit lighter than my neck as well, because my jaw is pretty like forward, so there's a lot of shadow on my neck. So normally my neck would look a little bit darker. And if I match to my neck completely, it would be like a little bit too dark. Like in real life, it looks a little bit weird. Pretty. I like this foundation, and it's very nice that they also sell refills. I think this whole cushion in Japan sells for maybe like 1,100 yen, and their refill is even cheaper. So for cushion foundation, I think it's very rare you can get something cheaper than that. I think that's probably around $7. Maybe if you buy from overseas, it's gonna be more expensive, but still it's very, very affordable. And I absolutely love this medium coverage natural finish, like natural settling finish. And it's not settling to my pores. We also actually have two powder to try. This one I just bought. It's also something new from Cezanne. Soft loose powder in the shade 3, Lucent Clear. And this is claim that you don't need to remove this with the cleanser, like a makeup remover. Whatever, I just feel like these claims are often pretty weird, because do you ever feel like you need to remove a powder? Like you just applied some loose powder on your bare face. I personally would think as long as it's like a loose powder, I wouldn't need to remove it with a cleanser. Like a normal face wash should be enough, unless it's like actually a foundation, like those mineral foundation that's in loose form. I don't know about these claims. Another one, which is a pressed one, is from ettusais. It's their skincare powder pressed. Another those type of claims, skincare powder, so you don't have to remove it and you can wear this at night. So you might think, why would you wear powder at night, right? It's a fair question, but in Japan there's this category, it's called skincare powder. Some of them has whitening, or maybe I should call brightening effect, to not make people confused to think it's like bleaching your skin to like a white color. No, it's a brightening effect, and some of them don't have any particular claim to have any sort of benefit to your skin. It's basically to say it's safe to use as a skincare to use after your nighttime routine, so you don't have to go to bed with a sticky face with all of those ingredients on top of your face. I personally never use that, but at the same time I do feel like this type of powder made me think it's gonna stress your skin less. So it's like safer to use on your skin. It's just on my head. I'm pretty sure it's not that much different than other powders. Okay, let's just apply this. Well, it's pretty brightening. And now definitely my face is way lighter than my neck. I think normally I would only apply on the inner half of my face, so this wouldn't be a problem. But today, for some reason, I go from the perimeter. So this side looks super smooth and it almost looks like bare skin. It's not heavy at all. This side, the Cezanne one, very nice. They have this little thing. I never noticed any other packaging has this thing. For you to open this lid easier. Yeah, it does has a lid so it doesn't fly everywhere, but I personally don't really like this type of thing because I feel like it's very hard to get enough product. And you are gonna have to pour this into the lid, and sometimes you don't use every single drop of powder you poured on this lid, therefore you have to, you know, it's still messy. So I feel like just make it normal, you don't need this lid. Oh, probably a little too much. This one is very blurring as well. I would have to say this side looks slightly less skin-like than this side, but still it's very nice. It's not heavy at all. Up until now I liked everything, which is very surprising for some reason. Hey, before we move on to the next thing, let me hydrate my lips. Should I use this side by side as well? Because I do have one from each brand. One is canmake and one is Cezanne. I think I should do a video actually dedicated to these two brands compared to each other. That would be interesting, but for now, this is just a casual first impression. Canmake Mellow Dew Lip Essence. I tried one of their lip mask. I think it's the same line as this, and I kind of liked it. This is a little bit lighter in formulation than the mask. I like this as of right now. And this Cezanne Treatment Lip Balm. This is not like a lip mask or essence. It's a normal balm type. Oh, this one feels very moisturizing as well. And you look like just a tiny little bit less glowy than the essence one, but still pretty glowy, right? For eyeshadow, we do have both Cezanne and canmake, but because today is not like exactly compared canmake and Cezanne, I want to mainly focus on these two because these two are the newest and I'm very interested in these. These are the Petite Palette Eyes, the sparkling type, which is a limited edition I think, and these are SO1 and SO2. And as you can see, SO1 is a very spring color. And these are supposed to be all shimmer or glitter type compared to their normal one. Let's grab the normal one. I think you can see the difference. This one is the normal one and this one is the new one. It's all glowy. And I actually really liked this series. This palette I have is all matte, and they also have a line that's like mixed with matte and shimmers and glitters. And this one is all shimmer and glitter, as I said, and it's such a small size, and you have 8 choices. But I do have to say, there's not much product in here, so if you use a lot of eyeshadow, like quantity wise, how much powder you use each time, you can heat pan on this super quick. I have watched some review on Rednote, and some reviewer was like reviewing this very thoroughly. They're doing like 6 looks for a review and they heat pan on that review. 6 solid usage she already heat pan. So that's something about canmake makeup. It's very affordable, but you also don't get that much. How should I do this? Definitely want to use this blue though. The concept is there's 2 shimmer and 6 glitters. Here is the swatch, the neutral one and the blue one. I think you can only see the shade of the shimmer one nicely, and the other one just look like random glitters. Because the other one don't have like much base color. This neutral palette all over my eyelid, just using my finger. There's one thing about Japanese eyeshadows, like most of them you could just use your finger. It doesn't require too much advanced tools. It's nice. It's a neutral shimmer eyeshadow. It's nothing groundbreaking. And I'm thinking maybe I can layer this one, this darker one, on the outer perimeter. Oh, this one has a little bit more pigmentation. Do like this color. And now let's use this little chip. Apply this same shade on my lower lash line. Blends nicely. Actually, I really like canmake eyeshadow formulas. It's just one problem. Sometimes it's not very long wearing, and I think we have to see is this one long wearing at all. But as if right now the color is pretty nice and it blends well as well. This shade, this deeper shade. Maybe let's just layer it. This one looks like it's gonna be more pigmented. Oh yeah, this one is probably the most pigmented. I haven't used one of these chips, or maybe you should call like sponges, to apply eye makeup for a long time. But it's actually surprisingly easy to use if you don't have like a huge eye to do makeup on. For my medium-sized eye, I think it's a nice tool. I like one thing about Japanese makeup, the tools they attach to their packaging are normally useful. Okay, it's actually not that shimmery on the eye, it's just like a tiny little bit of like sheen that it's like not that easy to tell. So I think these are pretty nice base shades. So for the sparkle, because I want to definitely try this icy blue one, let's do something like normal underneath, like something like this. It looks pretty nice. I would say I prefer a finer glitter, but this one is not bad. It's just not my preference. I feel like it's right in between of what I like. I like a very fine glitter and very compact type of formula, or very huge and very reflective glitter. And this is like in between of those two. So yeah, this shade is not my personal favorite, but again, it's not bad. I see blue one. It actually is not that blue. It's just the shift is a little bit purpley blue. Yeah, on the eyes you can barely see actually. I'm not sure I'm a fan of this blue actually. It doesn't give blue at all. It's just like a tiny little bit of like purple shimmer, like, or glitter. This white one, because this one looked like it's something I would like. Yeah, this is more of the type of I like. It's more packed. It's not like random glitter. Okay, so for conclusion, I actually don't hate this because I normally wouldn't apply this amount of shimmer on my eyes. And there's a fair amount of fallout right now, but it's not too much because it's fair that I apply this much. It's fair to have a little bit fallout, and it's not even bad. I think if I would just be normal and apply one glitter, it would look pretty nicely. And again, I do like this formula. With my eye makeup done, I feel like this actually looks pretty nice, right? Even though there's like 2 kilos of glitters on my eyes, but again, still think it looks pretty nice. So for the cheeks, we have a lot. And these are truly just from Cezanne and canmake. For canmake, Glow Fleur Cheeks in the shade 17 and 18. These two are new. From Cezanne, we have the blend color cheeks 01 and 02. These are new as well. And swatched at the store, these are very, very similar. So I thought I would compare them. And they both have 2 shades. One is pinkier and one is more orangey. I'm thinking to use the orangey one on the outer perimeter and the pinky one on the inner part. And both of these two are more a blush topper type of formula. It's a very glowy, not too much pigment type of formulation. This side it's canmake and this side is Cezanne. And top is the orange and bottom is the pink shade. It doesn't look that glowy, but I swear it is. Okay, let's go with canmake on this side because this side is always the Cezanne side, right? And I'm just gonna use their brush. This brush is actually pretty nice. Okay, there's a lot of product. It's pretty loosely pressed. Like, can you even see the color there? I can barely see it, and I'm trying to concentrate on the place that has more color, but it just really is just a topper. And now let's try this side with the Cezanne one. I'm starting to think, are these two brands from the same company? But because it feels like so. Can you even tell the color? Because I barely can. Maybe if you are paler than me. But for me, these are just slightly pinky looking on my skin. Even if I'm just focusing on where it has more color, like on this one, I'm focusing on this shade and this shade, it's still there's not much color. And in real life, these pans look more colorful than it looks on the camera. But I do feel like it's showing a little bit, right? Just a little bit, and it's spring. It's a spring collection, so I guess it's fair that they don't have too much color. Okay, now the pink one. Oh, this one has a little bit more color. It's actually pretty nice. I don't think this is for everyone though. This side, the Cezanne one. Oh, this one is way paler than the canmake side. This one is almost looking like lavender white on my skin. Yeah, overall I think the canmake one has a little bit more color and also a little bit more sheen actually. The Cezanne side almost look like just setting powder, which I'm not too mad, but the thing is, these are claimed to be blushes, and unless you're super pale, like you're super pale, don't think these are gonna be too much color on your face. But layering so many layers, I think it finally gives a little bit of like a pink hue. Formula is not bad. It's not like looking chunky on my skin or anything, but it really does not have much color payoff on it. And it's not even very glowy, which is what is surprising for me, because I fully like expected it to be not very pigmented. I expected it to be has more shine. Okay, the next one is actually also Cezanne versus canmake. This new highlighter palette. It's the mixed color cheek N in the shade 10. And this canmake one is actually what's very new. It's their Moon Glow highlight. It's a baked highlighter, which I think is the first time they do anything like baked. And this is only sold in one store. It's a variety store called Loft in Japan. Normally they do a lot of pre-launch for canmake, so they launch something on their store earlier than the actual launch date. The canmake, oh, it feels more like a cream, surprisingly, and it's pretty glowy. It slightly emphasized the texture, but I think that's to be expected for powder highlights, but I think the finish is pretty nice. This side, I'm thinking to just mix all colors. To be honest, for a color that's this light, mixing it or not probably doesn't make that much of a difference. And even on the swatch, it just looks like 4 blocks of white. All look slightly different than each other, but all white. Oh, this is more natural than the canmake one, but it's still effective highlighter. And this one doesn't really emphasize texture that much, probably because it's less glowy though. This is a very skin finished highlight, which I actually kind of like, and I'm layering so many layers, it's still looking pretty natural. I think I like both. Okay, the last one is from the brand Kate. It's their Lip Monster Tsuya Verse, I think, and I have the shade G01. Almost burgundy color, not very spring actually. I forgot why I bought this color. I bought it online, and now my lips are very moisturized on both sides, and the Cezanne one is slightly like minty. Okay, let's apply this. Oh, there's a lot of color. I didn't expect that. Okay, sharing it out, it actually looks pretty nice against this makeup. Yeah, nice. I feel like today majority of the stuff I actually liked. Okay, so let's do a roundup quickly. I don't want to spend 2 hours here. The sunscreen, I liked both of them. This one is pretty much clear, and this one has a little bit of color, but it does come down. I don't think you can see much of a tone difference on two sides of my face. And this one is more of a jelly texture, and this one is more of a cream to lotion type of texture. Again, I liked both. Foundation looked nice on both of them. And for foundation, again, liked both of this. This one is a very serum-y texture, but blended it out, it's not too glowy. It's more of a skin finish. It's very natural. It's not too glowy, not too matte. It's smoothing to the pores. It's medium coverage. It looks nice. It reminds me of the uemura foundation. And this Cezanne one, despite it to be so affordable, hardly like $8 for this whole packaging, including the case, and it's looking very nice, like a satiny finish, a touch more matte than this foundation. And the color 20 is actually a good match for me. This is the darkest shade. Coverage, it's about light medium, more on the medium side. This one is light medium, more on the 50-50 point of light to medium. So this one slightly more coverage. Again, liked both of them. The powder, again, liked both of them. Both of these make my foundation look very blurred. Actually, right now, finishing this whole makeup, I would say this Cezanne side actually looks more blurred and smooth, even though this side look very great as well. So yeah, really like these two powders. Not much to say because these two are just powders. Slightly brightening on both of these, so if you don't like that, probably shouldn't get these, but for me it's nice. Both of these are nice. Two lip balms, loved both of these. The Cezanne one is in a stick type, so I think this is probably better to use in the daytime, but I think the level of hydration it gives can also carry you at night, so loved both of these. To be honest, these are not too groundbreaking, but at the same time I like how it looked on my eyes right now. The glitters are pretty, like it's glittering, but just note, you have this many choices of glitters, it probably doesn't look that different on your eye because these are just like a shift difference. It looks pink, it looks blue, but on your eyes it's all clear based with a tiny little bit of shift. So I would say you don't need both. The blushes, to be honest, at first I didn't like any of these because it's too sheer, but now it's kind of growing on me because I feel like these are just very spring. It's very sheer, so if you are anywhere darker than a light medium skin tone, these probably are not for you because how sheer they are. I think I'm probably the maximum level of skin tone that can handle this. This is really light. After layering it a little bit, I can see the color and I kind of liked the color. Like the more I wear it, the more it's melting into my skin. It's just very sheer. So I really don't think you need more than one, even though I bought 4. I think if you're gonna get a shade, I actually prefer the pink one from Cezanne. But yeah, for some reason I prefer that one. It's a very slight difference. You really don't need this much. Just choose one formula and one shade and you're good. These are not even that glowy. It's like more of a satiny finish. And the highlight, I actually liked both of them. The finish is slightly different. The canmake baked one has this creamy finish and is more intense, I think you can tell. And this one, even though it has 4 color, but it's not that different and it looks more natural on the skin. It's more of a skin finish. So yeah, I liked both of these. For the lip, I sheared this out a lot actually. Does it have film formers? Well, I guess not so much, but I think a little bit because it did come off, but there's also base color left on my lips, like it didn't take all of it off. So I think these are just one of those Japanese long wearing tinted lip balms, like one of those type of formulas. So if you left this on your lips for a couple minutes, it's gonna, a part of the color is gonna settle down. So after you eat, there's still maybe 30 to 50% of color on your lips. That's the concept. And I do like this color. It's, after shearing this out, it's actually a very spring color. I like this. I just don't like the color applied very pigmented. That's everything from today's video. I hope these are helpful for you. And I think in the future, I would try to do a video only focusing on comparing Cezanne and canmake because they really have a lot of similarities. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.